Hello, everyone. We'll continue today for our third class. So we'll continue uh, when we talk about the past vows of the Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva's sutras. So the description of the Avinci hell. There is a particular hell called the relentless. Its enclosed area is 18,000 square miles. The wall of the hell is 1,000 miles tall, totally made of iron, and covered with a fire burning downwards, meeting another fire burning upwards. Iron snakes and dogs spewing fire race back and forth along the top of that wall. In that hell, there is a bed that extends for 10,000 miles. One person's undergoing punishments, seeing his or her own body occupying the whole entire bed. But when hundreds of thousands of people undergo punishment simultaneously, each of them still see his or her own body occupying the bed. That is how retributions are experienced by those with the same karma. What is more, these offenders undergo extreme sufferings. Hundreds of thousands of yakshas and other evil ghosts display fangs like swords and eyes like lightning as they pull and drag the offenders with their brass-clawed hands. Other yakshas uh, wild huge iron weapons that they use to pierce the offender's mouth and noses or stab their bellies and backs. They toss the offenders into the air and then catch them by skewering them with the halberds, or they let them drop onto the bed. Iron eagles perks at the offender's eyes, and iron serpents wrap around their necks. Long nails are driven into the limbs. Their tongues are pulled out, stretched, and plowed through. Their internal organs are gouged out, sliced, and minced. Molten copper is poured into their mouth, and their bodies are bound with hot iron. Responses to their karma go on like that throughout hundreds of thousands of deaths and rebirths. They pass through hundreds of millions of eons seeking escape in vain. When this world is destroyed, they will be reborn in another world. And when the other world's destroyed, they will pass through other worlds being reborn. And when those worlds are destroyed, they will continually pass through one world to another by being reborn again and again. And after this world is reformed, they will return again. This is the situation for punitive retribution in the Avinci hell. These descriptions are so detailed that when I first read the sutra 20 years ago, I was shocked. But I also found it extremely interesting because it clearly describes what life is like in the Avinci hell. In the past, I had heard stories about hell in cartoons, movies, or tales, but this description is in a sutra. So it is not just a scary story trying to scare us. It is real. After reading this, we should be scared and avoid committing faults that will lead us to these hells. We learn about the pain and sufferings of the beings in the hell, and we should have compassion for them. Perhaps we can recite this sutra and transfer merits to them. I hope that these beings can realize and give up their ignorance and wrong views, and that this Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva can save them. The Avinci hell is called unrelenting due to the 5 kinds of karmic resonance. So what are the 5? First, day and night for more than a kalpa. Beings receive punishments without interruptions. Therefore, it is called unrelenting. Second, one person feels it, and many people also can feel it. Therefore, it is called unrelenting. Third, torture devices include pitchforks, cudgels, eagles, snakes, wolves, horns, and objects that pound, grind, saw, bore, cut, and chop, as well as boiling cauldrons, iron nets, iron cords, iron axes, and iron horses. Animals' hides are wrapped around their heads, and hot irons is splattered over their bodies. When hungry, they swallow iron pellets, and when thirsty, they drink molten iron. So for years on ends throughout cowparks, numbering in Yayutas, their sufferings and punishment is continuous without interruptions. Therefore, it is called unrelenting. Fourth, no matter whether one is a man, woman, barbarian, old, young, rich, poor, or whether a dragon, a spirit, deva, or ghost, all will equally receive punishments according to their karmic resonance. Therefore, it is called unrelenting. Fifth, if beings fall into this hell, from the time of their initial entry throughout hundreds of thousands of kalpas, every day and every night, they will have tens of thousands of deaths and rebirths, and seeking a moment's rest, it is not possible for them to obtain it. Only when their karma is exhausted can they obtain rebirth elsewhere. Because of this continuity, it is called unrelenting. When this world is destroyed, they will reborn in another world, and when the other world's destroyed, they will pass through other worlds being reborn. And when those worlds are destroyed, they will continually pass through one world to another by being reborn again and again. After this world is reformed, they will return again. This is the situation of punctuative retributions in the Avinci hell. Okay, destined to be reborn in the Avinci hell. What kinds of faults leads to rebirth in the hell? What causes sentient beings to fall into the most bitter hell, the Avinci hell? There are various hells with different names mentioned in the sutra on the fundamental vows of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva. The 8 burning hells are filled with fire and iron pillars. The deepest level is Avinci hell. Those who have been committed very serious unwholesome deeds immediately fall into this Avinci hell without delay after death. There is no break in time to suffering in this hell, so it is called Avinci hell. According to Buddha Dharma, committing wholesome deeds will bring good results, while unwholesome deeds will bring bad results. Those who committed serious unwholesome deeds will fall into hell. But it is true that one must fall into hell if they commit unwholesome deeds of that karmically lead to the hell. Someone who has committed grave sins that can lead to rebirth in hell not necessarily fall into hell. Each person may commit many unwholesome deeds, and has karma that leading to the hell from their past lives, in this present lives, from childhood to their old age deeds. One may commit karma that leads to the hell, but it is not certain that one will fall into hell. If sentient beings have good karmic forces from the merits of committing wholesome deeds or karmic forces that surpass the evil karmic forces, then they can ascend and be reborn in human or heavenly realm. But this does not mean the unwholesome hellish karma is eliminated. However, if sentient beings have committed grave unwholesome deeds, which unless they do not offend, otherwise, if they do, they will immediately fall into hell. And it is impossible to fall into hell by performing meritorious deeds or repentance. This is similar to someone who suffered a terminal illness and must die at some point. Some illnesses may seem serious, but if there is a good doctor and the right medicine, there is still hope for a cure. However, it is not possible for terminal illnesses. Sentient beings of impure worlds of the five tripudies have many opportunities to commit unwholesome deeds, and the danger is particularly high. Therefore, sentient beings must understand how to identify wholesome and unwholesome deeds. In particular, they should start by identifying the most serious unwholesome deeds that will definitely lead them to hell, so that they will be cautious and prevent offenses and thereby avoid falling into hell. There are two types of extreme evil karma for falling into the Avinci hell described in the sutras. The 11 kinds of extreme severe negative karma. The sutras identify two categories of extremely severe negative karma that results in rebirth in the Avinci hell. As stated in the Dasachakra Kṣitigarbha Sutra, Versicle 3, those who commit the 5 grave offenses or the 4 fundamental transgressions comparable in severity to the 5 grave offenses, or those who either slandered the true Dharma or harbor doubts about Triple Gem. These are two kinds of offenders will upon the destructions of their bodies at hell immediately and directly be reborn into great hell called Avinci. This occurs if they have committed any one of these 11 offenses. These 11 severe offenses are divided into 3 groups. The 5 grave offenses, the 4 fundamental transgressions, and the offenses of slandering the true Dharma and harboring doubts about the Triple Gem. The 5 grave offenses. The 5 grave offenses refer to any one of the following 5 actions, each of which results in immediate rebirth in Avinci hell. Killing one's father, the second, killing one's mother. Parents give us life and nurtured us from infancy through adulthood, providing education and care, the debts of gratitude we owe them. is as immense, enduring as enduring as a great mountain. According to the worldly customs and legal standards, harming or killing one's parents is viewed as a beastly behavior. And in criminal law, deliberately harming one's parents is considered an exceptional severe crime. The third, killing an arahat. An arahat is a practitioner who has reached the fourth fruition and attained full liberation. Killing such a sage incurs an extremely severe karmic offense. The fourth, causing a Buddha to bleed. During the lifetime of Shakyamuni Buddha, Devadatta attempted to harm him by pushing a stone off a cliff, aiming to crush the Buddha. However, protective deities shattered the big rock and only small fragments injured the Buddha's toe, causing bleeding. This incident defines the offense of causing a Buddha to bleed. 5. Causing a schism within a harmonious monastic community. Intentionally causing divisions within a monastic community that is pure and harmonious, resulting in a separation into distinct factions, constitutes a grave offenses. The latter three offenses especially pertain to Buddhist teachings. Generally speaking, in this defiled world, few people commit these 5 grave offenses. For instance, cases of individuals killing their parents are not many. Besides Devadatta, no one else has caused a Buddha to bleed. Similarly, causing a schism within a monastic community is uncommon. An instance of killing an arahat are exceedingly rare, especially in the current age of Dharma declined, as the presence of arahat themselves has become extremely scarce. There are 2 categories of sangha. One is karma sangha, which is a monastic community living in one location and performing meetings and making karma decisions as one group. The other sangha is the Dharma sangha, which is the whole Buddhist monastic community that includes every Buddhist monastics in the world. Devadatta's acts refers to splitting and later where he challenged the role and teachings of the Buddha by proclaiming he has better teachings. The 4 fundamental precepts. The 4 fundamental offenses, killing, stealing, adultery, and lying are the grave offenses which results in the grave offenses for great Avinci hell. In this case of monastics, if they breached any of the 4 fundamental precepts, they must be expelled from the monastic community. Breaching any of the 4 fundamental precepts is likened to severing the roots of a tree, making regrowth impossible, or like a corpse cast into the ocean, never again to be accepted into the ocean of Dharma. However, if the monastic has not completely breached a fundamental precepts, or if, in the case of sexual misconduct, the offender immediately and sincerely seeks repentance before the entire sangha, fully accepting the prescribed disciplinary measures, Then, even though they will not achieve liberation from the cycle of birth and death, nor attain the spiritual stages of sages within his lifetime, they may still remain within the monastic community, characterized as a repentant novice. Naturally, those who do not seek repentance will be expelled. So the four fundamental offenses, comparable in severity to the five grave sins, especially refer to the most extreme acts of killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, and lying. Only these gravest transgressions lead directly to rebirth in the Avinci hell, regardless of whether one is a lay person or a monastic. If one commits any of most severe violation of the four fundamental precepts, one immediately incurs inevitable rebirth in the Avinci hell, and no repentance can reverse this outcome. Among violations of the precepts against killing, the gravest offense is killing a particular Buddha, since it is impossible for a Buddha to be killed. And regarding the precepts against stealing, the gravest offense is to steal items belonging to the Triple Gem, such as items belongs to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha, having been intentionally offered by devotees. Therefore, stealing them constitutes the most severe transgression. Concerning the precepts against sexual misconduct, the gravest offense is committing an act of false sexual intercourse with a bhikkhuni who has attained arahathood. Such an offense inevitably results in rebirth in the Avinci hell. Lastly, concerning the precepts against lying, the gravest offense is false speech that intentionally sows discord within Sangha. Causing division within a harmonious Sangha constitutes the most severe transgression. All virtues and merits in this world are derived entirely from the Triple Gem, including purity and liberation, ending the cycle of birth and death, cultivating the Bodhisattva path, and attaining Buddhahood. These four severe offenses all damages and defile the Triple Gem, thereby causing the greatest harm. Okay, so here is a past life of Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva as a obedient Brahmin girl. Another time, inconceivable eons ago, there was a Buddha named Enlightenment Flower Samadhi Self-Mastery King Thus Come One. This Buddha had a lifespan of 400 billion eons. During the era of semblance Dharma, there lived a Brahmin woman who possessed great blessings from her past lives and was respected by all. Whether she was walking, standing, sitting, or lying down, she was surrounded and protected by gods. However, her mother followed a deviant faith and often disrespected the Triple Gem. The devoted daughter employed various strategies in an attempt to persuade her mother to adopt the right views, but her mother never fully believed her. Eventually, the mother's life came to an end, and consciousness descended into the relentless hell, known as the Avinci hell. When her mother's life came to an end, the Brahmin woman, aware that her mother had not believe in the concept of cause and effects during her lifetime, worried that her mother's karma would lead her into the evil paths. To address this concern, she sold the family house and purchased various types of incense, flowers, and other offerings. With these, she performed a grand offerings at the Buddha's stupas and monasteries. In one of the monasteries, she came across a particular fine image of a Buddha, the enlightenment's flower samadhi self-mastery king, thus come one. As the Brahmin woman gazed upon the honored figure, she felt a deep sense of respect and thought to herself, Buddhas are known as the great enlightened ones who have attained all wisdom. If this Buddha were in this world, I could ask him where my mother went after her death. He would certainly know. The Brahmin woman then wept for a long time, her eyes fixed longingly to the Buddha. Suddenly, a voice in the air said, "O weeping, worthy woman, do not be so sorrowful. I shall now show you where your mother has gone." The Brahmin woman placed her palms together and addressed the space, saying, "Which virtuous divinity is comforting me in my grief? Ever since the day I lost my mother, I have remembered her day and night, but I have nowhere to go to inquire about the realm of her rebirth." The voice in the air spoke to the woman again. "Oh, I'm the one whom you behold and worship, the former enlightenment flower samadhi self-mastery king, thus come one. Because I have seen that your regards for your mother exceeds that of ordinary beings, I have come to show you where she is." Hearing the delightful news, the Brahmin woman immediately knelt towards the voice she had heard. Her actions was too hasty and she fell, injuring herself seriously. Those around her supported her and provided assistance, and after a long time she regained her consciousness. Then she spoke to the air, saying, "Oh, I hope the Buddha will be compassionate and quickly tell me which realm my mother has been reborn. I am now near my death myself." The enlightenment flower samadhi self-mastery king thus come one replied to the worthy woman, "After you make your offerings, return home quickly, sit upright, and concentrate on my name. You will soon know where your mother was reborn." The Brahmin woman bowed to the Buddha and returned home. The memory of her mother sustained her as she sat upright, recalling the enlightenment flower samadhi self-mastery king, the thus come one. After reflecting on the Buddhas for a day and a night, she suddenly found herself beside a seething and a bubbling sea. Many evil beasts with iron bodies flew swiftly back and forth above the waters. She saw billions of men and women bubbling up and down in the sea, being tortured, seized, and devoured by or eaten and chased by evil beasts. She also saw yakshas in various forms, some with many hands, some with numerous, a lot and a lot of eyes, some with many legs, and some with multiple heads. With their sharp fangs, they drove the offenders towards the evil beasts, or they themselves seized the offenders, twisting their heads and limbs into shapes so horrifying that no one would dare uh, to look at it for long. So despite the chaos around her, the Brahmin woman, empowered by her recollection of the Buddha, remained fearless. The ghost king, called Poisonous, bowed his head in greeting and addressed the worthy woman, saying, "Oh, welcome, O Bodhisattva. What brings you here?" The Brahma woman inquired, "What kind of place is this?" Poisonous replied, "We are on the southern side of the great Iron Ring Mountain, and this is the first of the seas that encircle it." The worthy woman continued, "I have heard that the hells are located within the Iron Ring. Is that true?" Poisonous confirmed, "Yes, the hells are indeed here." The worthy woman then asked, "How can I have come to the hells?" Poisonous responded, "If it isn't your incredible spiritual strength that brought you here, it is the power of karma. There are the only two ways anyone arrives in this place." The worthy woman asked, "Why is the water seething and bubbling? And, and why are there so many offenders and evil beasts?" Poisonous replied, "These are beings of Jambudvipa who did evil deeds. They have just died and passed through 49 days without any surviving relatives doing any meritorious deeds on their behalf to rescue them from their distress. Besides that, during their lives, they themselves did not plant any good causes. Now their own karma calls forth these hells. Their first task is to cross the sea. 10,000 yojanas east of the sea is another sea in which they will undergo twice as much sufferings. East of that sea is yet another sea where the sufferings are double yet again. The combined evil actions of the three karmic paths create what is called the sea of karma, and that is the place. The worthy woman asked the ghost king Poisonous, "Where are the hells?" Poisonous answered, "Within the three seas are hundreds of thousands of hells. Each one is different. 18 of these are known as the great hells. 500 subsequent ones inflict limitless, cruel sufferings. Following those are hundreds of thousands that inflict limitless further sufferings." The worthy woman again questioned the great ghost king. "My mother died recently, but I do not know where she has gone." The ghost king asked the worthy woman, the Bodhisattva's mother was alive, what habits did she have? The worthy woman responded, "My mother held deviant views and uh, often say bad things and slandered the Triple Gem. Even when she occasionally believed in them, she would soon return to being disrespectful. She died recently, and I do not know where she has been reborn." Poisonous asked, "Bodhisattva, what is your mother's name and clan?" The worthy woman replied, "My parents are both Brahmins. My father's name is Shri Sudarshana. My mother's name is Yue Di Li." Poisonous placed his palms together and answered the reply to the worthy woman. "Please, worthy one, return home now. There is no need for you to grieve any longer. The offender, Yue Di Li, was reborn in the heavens 3 days ago. It is said that she benefited from the offerings made and blessings cultivated by her filial child, who practiced giving to enlightenment flower samadhi self-mastery king thus come ones at stupas and monasteries." Not only was the Bodhisattva's mother released from the hells, but all other offenders destined for the redless hell also received bliss and were reborn with her. So after finishing his speech, the Ghost King put his palms together and withdrew. The Brahmin woman recovered swiftly, as if from a dream, understood what has happened, and then made a profound and far-reaching vow before the stupas and the image of enlightenment, flower samadhi, self-mastery king thus come one, saying, I vow that until the end of future eons, I will respond to beings suffering for their offenses by using many expedient devices to bring about their liberation. The Buddha told the Manjushri, the Ghost King poisonous is the present Bodhisattva foremost wealth. The Brahman woman is now Kṣitigarbha Bodhisattva. So for the summary, the reasons for the Brahman mom to fall into the Avinci hell. What are the reasons? Because she followed deviant's faith and disrespected the triple gem, did not believe in concepts of cause and effect. So we must be careful not to commit these faults. So which realm the mother has been reborn? So the Brahmin woman followed the instructions of the Buddha, and she set up rites and concentrated on recalling the enlightenment, flower, samadhi, self-mastery, king, thus come one, and she knows where her mother will be reborn. It was said by the Buddha. So the Brahman woman arrives at the seas of Karma, which is located on the western side of the Great Iron Ring Mountain. And this is the first seas that encircle it. And there are beasts in the water attacking and eating beings in the sea. And these are beings of Jambudvipa. They are just died and passed through 49 days without any surviving relatives doing any meritorious deeds on behalf to rescue them from their distress. So these beings themselves didn't plant any good causes during their life. Now their own karma calls forth these hells. Their first task is to cross this sea, and 10,000 yojanas east of the sea is another sea in which they will undergo twice as much suffering, and each of the sea is yet another sea where the sufferings are doubled yet again. So the combined evil actions of the three karmic paths create what is called the sea of karma. And after crossing the sea, the Brahmin girl tries to find her mother by asking the Ghost King. And the Ghost King's poisonous clearly describes the nature and location of hells. And within these three seas, there are hundreds and thousands of hells, and each one distinct from the others. And among these, 18 are known as the Great Hells, while 500 others cause endless cruel sufferings. Following these are countless hells that inflict even further limitless sufferings. So the Ghost King he did locate the Brahmin girl's mother in the hell. Unable to locate the mother because the mother already has been liberated from the hell through the offerings and blessings generated by her devoted child. So this child actively practiced giving to the enlightenment, flower, samadhi, self-mastery king, the thus come one, at the stupas and the monasteries. So these actions help to flee her mom from the hell. And not just her mother at that time, but all other souls, all other beings that are in the Avinci hell also attained bliss and were reborn with her. So from this, we can see that as children, we should pray for our parents. recall the Buddha, and make offerings to the Triple Gem. These meritorious deeds will generate merits. If we transfer these merits to the deceased, they can assist our parents or anyone else after their passing away. So when we perform good deeds, we should also think of other beings so that not only our loved ones benefit. This practice can help build our compassion, which is what Bodhisattvas and the Buddha do. I remember helping a volunteer at his funeral. He was not old, only in his late 30s. He has been battling kidney disease for some time and need a transplant, but he was unable to get one after a long struggle with his illness. His mother was very upset, but she promised him that she would let go and encourage him not to suffer anymore, vowing to go, ask him to vow to go to the Western Pure Land. However, his brothers and sister could not help feeling very sad. My Dharma sister and I assisting them at the funeral because the deceased had helping our temple for many years with the youth activities. And when it was time for the body to be cremated, the gates was opened to let the coffin move inside. Suddenly, his brothers and sisters burst out crying loud in sorrow. At least 10 people did the same. His sisters fainted while the other siblings lay on ground feeling unwell. My Dharma sister and I were reciting the name of the Buddha at that moment and didn't know what to do. The face of the sister who had collapsed turned purple, a sign which was alarming. And another siblings also appeared to be in distress. Their mother went to hold on to her son's widow and cry heavily. I was very scared and could only hope that no other people would faint and suffer. I could truly feel the sadness and pain that comes from the separation of family members. My Dharma sister couldn't withhold her tears and was unable to continue chanting. I kept chanting because the body has not yet been cremated yet. The funeral director and the staff quickly attended to the sister who had fainted, and fortunately, after a while, she recovered. Later, I told them not to cry and encouraged them to help their brother by praying, as it is it would be mostly benefit him. So this is the end for the class 3. Looking forward to see you again tomorrow. Thank you.